what you believe about the nature of trading. So if we just kind of making money as a trader is primarily a function of analysis. Who would agree with that? Everyone, come raise your hands. It's all right. You raise your hands. So you're telling me that only a few people would agree? Part of it? Okay. Okay. I often find myself thinking there must be a way to trade without having to take a loss. Come on, be honest. Come on. Oh, yeah, yeah. You know, let's say I find myself thinking that there must be a way to trade without taking a loss, right? Okay. Okay. By the way, the first one of the things, this is a primary, one of the things we're going to talk about a lot of. Making money as a trader is primarily a function of analysis. That really isn't the case at all, what you're going to learn. In other words, trading is execution. Trading is execution. What you decide to do, of course, is analysis. And the problem is that it depends on what you're using your analysis for. If you're using your analysis to avoid the risk, then certainly making money is not a function of that, because you will virtually consistently lose. But we're going to talk about that more in a little bit, okay? Okay. I have trouble getting out of a losing trade. Anybody here still have trouble getting out of a losing trade? Okay, that's fine. You won't have that trouble after today. I'm really, my goal is that when you walk out of here, you will understand in no uncertain terms that there was absolutely no reason to hang on to what you will define in advance as a losing trade. Do you find yourself planning trades you never execute and executing trades you never planned? That's a pretty common thing that affects most traders. There's always a cost associated with finding out what the market may do next. It's good to think that. That means you're accepting the risk. That there's a certain amount of, cost meaning a certain amount of risk involved in finding out what the market may do next. If I were to thoroughly analyze my trading results, I would find that my average losing trade is much bigger than my average winning trade. Well, a few people in here that might still be falling in that category. It only takes one trader somewhere in the world to negate the positive outcome of any particular trade. Who agrees with that? Anybody? Raise your hand if you agree with that, please. Nobody raises their hand. Oh, this is big. I love it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for not agreeing with that, because you couldn't be further from the truth. You couldn't be more wrong. This is one of the things you're going to learn. It only takes one trader somewhere in the world to negate the positive outcome of your trade or your edge. That's all, just one. You're going to learn that today. I wouldn't put on a trade if I wasn't sure it was going to be a winner. Who agrees with that statement? Please raise your hand, please. Who agrees with that statement? Good, good, good. I'm saying good because what I'm saying is that, yes, there is a gap here that we're going to have to fill between your particular attitudes about trading now and where you're going to end up with, hopefully, by the end of the day. I would answer this question, absolutely not. I wouldn't put on this trade if I wasn't sure it was going to be a winner. I trade from the perspective of I don't know if any trade is going to be a winner. And I don't have to know. As a matter of fact, that is one of the principal, let's say, principal concepts that you will have to adapt to become a consistently successful trader. And what the pros have adapted, and the reason why they can do what they do, is because they have learned, not just learned, but they believe, without a shred of doubt, that they do not have to know what's going to happen next to make money. And don't even think about it in those terms. They don't even think about it in those terms. It's not a matter of what's going to happen next. When you understand the nature of how technical analysis, how your technical formulas and your mathematical formulas interact with market behavior and what they can and can't do and what their inherent limitations are, you will also understand that I wouldn't put on a trade if I wasn't sure it was going to be a winner is absolutely one of the worst mistakes you can make to be a consistently successful trader. It is. In fact, it's probably the number one. Kind of perplexing at this moment? Yes? Good. Okay, I always define my risk before I enter a trade. Is everybody here in this room at the point where they always predefine their risk? Who doesn't? Raise your hand. Please raise your hand. I want to know where everyone's at. Come on. It's all right. Okay. Sometimes I find myself blaming the market for what went wrong. Well, let me ask you this. Does anybody feel betrayed by the market ever? Anybody ever feel betrayed by their signals, their technical signal, or whatever methodology that they use? We're going to talk about that in detail too. The more a trader learns about the nature of the markets, the easier it will be for him to execute his trades. Who thinks there's a correlation there, that the more I learn about the nature of markets and price movement, the easier it will be to execute your trades? Who thinks there's a positive correlation there? Okay, again, couldn't be further from the truth. There's a negative correlation there. The more you learn, the harder it's going to be to execute your trades. It depends on why you're learning it, of course, but we'll get into that. To be a successful technical trader, you have to determine what the market is going to do next. I already said that's not the case, so you'll know how to answer that one. But if I hadn't said it, how would you have answered it? Who would have said yes if I hadn't have already told you guys? A couple people? And you came to Houston? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Okay, trading skills. Who are the professionals? We already talked about that. And why would it be beneficial to think like a professional trader? We already talked about that. What's the answer? Anybody can make money, okay? We kind of already established the fact that anybody can make money as a trader. Yeah, we're talking about consistency. What we want to do is we want to close that profit gap. We want to make sure that our bottom line results reflect the potential of our methodologies. Okay? And that's what the professional has learned how to do. The professional has learned how to close that profit gap. They have learned the appropriate skills to do that. They're people just like you and me, okay? They're no different. They really aren't. They've evolved into a different way of thinking about trading. That's the reason why they can do it. And you can do it too, with understanding and awareness. That is really primarily what this workshop is about anyway. Because when you think about it, if you've read stories of people who have aspired to greatness as a trader, you'll always find, with almost all of them, that there's this underlying thread, this underlying theme that virtually all of them have lost one or more of what they considered a fortune before they started becoming consistently successful. Why do you think that underlying thread or theme exists in their lives? What's that? Why do you think that commonality exists? Because at some point they lose so often and then come back from losing that, one, they gain the confidence that they can do it, and as a result the fear dissipates, and as soon as the fear is gone, they're trading from a carefree state of mind, and when you trade from that carefree state of mind, everything about your trading changes. Remember that the primary skill that we're talking about here is simply trading without fear. This is a trading skill. It is the primary skill that you will have to acquire to create consistency, to trade without fear. What does consistency look like? I've already went through on the grease board here and showed you a consistently rising equity curve with the drawdowns, the normal drawdowns being a reflection of what? Can anybody remember what I said about that? What was that? Normal losses that reflect any trading methodology, right? Okay, what skills are necessary to experience a winning trade? Now, think about it. Now, I'm going to contrast, okay? I'm going to do a little bit of contrasting here. Just to show you one of the reasons why it can be so difficult to get even into a frame of mind where we start asking the appropriate questions about what do I need to really be consistently successful? Because what does it really take to experience a winning trade? What skills do you need? Anybody got any idea? What skills do you need to experience a winning trade? What? What's your name, sir? Maurice says a click of the mouse. Who's with Maurice on that? Come on, who's with Maurice on a click of the mouse? Got 1, 2, anybody else? 3, 4. He's absolutely right. That's all it takes. There are no other skills needed. No other skills needed other than the actual physical ability to put your finger on the mouse button and click in the buy or the sell, and you can find yourself in a winning trade. You can find yourself in a spectacularly winning trade, far beyond what you could have ever imagined. And what skill did it take? What did it take? Just doing it. That's all. Just doing it at that moment. Do you need an edge? Do you even have to know what an edge is? Is it possible to just be to walk up to your computer and the arrow happened to be on the buy button, you click and then find yourself in a winning trade? You didn't have an edge, did you? You just clicked it. What did it take? It took nothing. Do you need a plan? Need no plan. Do you need the discipline to execute the plan? No, you don't need that either, do you? Now, see, you're going to see the opposite of all this, of course, is what we're going to be talking about in terms of creating consistency. But go ahead.
What you're saying is a blind squirrel will eventually find a nut. Sorry. What you're saying is a blind squirrel will eventually find.
Did you say a squirrel? I'm sorry,
yeah.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Okay, squirrel. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I can click a mouse. You know, the arrow hits the buy. I click. I get a great trade. That's good. It's all the things that lead up to me. That's the implementation. But what about all the things that lead up to that implementation?
Oh, I understand. I'm not negating that at all. I'm just saying that the reality is you don't need anything. That's all I'm saying, because I'm contrasting here. I'm just making a contrast between what you need to be consistent and what you need to win.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm doing, okay?
You just summed that up with what I was about to say. There's all the difference in the world between having the skills necessary to experience a winning trade as compared to having the skills necessary to consistently experience a winning trade.
Absolutely. That's all I'm talking about here. Because see, because what this does is the not understanding this contrast creates what I call like a huge psychological gap. Because it's very easy for us to think that trading is easy. And if you believe that trading is easy, even if all your experience is starting to tell you that it's not, it doesn't mean that experience is dropping down to a level of realization where you change your behavior or change the way that you think about trading. If your first impression, if your first experience was that this couldn't be simpler. And then you spend, how many X number of years or half a lifetime finally coming to the realization that, you know what? Yeah, to win, like what do you need? Like I could be in a casino and plunk $100 bill down at a blackjack table and end up with a blackjack. What did I need? Nothing. I just happened to win. Now, if I want to be a professional blackjack player and make a consistent income from playing blackjack, well, that's a whole nother matter, isn't it? And we're talking about the same things here with trading. There would be a number of skills that I'd have to acquire to be able to make a consistent, reliable income as a blackjack player. And there are people who do it.